What's up, guys? It's Droven. I've got some more spicy Reddit stories for you, and I'm also going to be mining for diamonds and might get my cheeks handed to me by a creeper and an enderman at some point. And one more thing to mention, I'm not an AI. Story number 1 comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for exposing a local beloved pet sitter that wasn't showing up even when she said she was? Sorry, this is a long one. I used to have a pet sitter that came highly recommended starting back in 2021. At first, she was fantastic. She would send pics of my fur babies every time she came, was reliable, and always helped me out in a pinch. Starting in 2023, I noticed she wasn't sending pics every time she was supposed to be at the house. This made me a bit suspicious, but the fur babies were happy, there was food and water for them, so I chalked it up to the fact that I'd been using her for a while and we had built trust. Fast forward to November of 2024. I had to abruptly leave the country because my daughter was studying overseas and had a very serious medical emergency. My husband happened to be out of town for work at the same time, so I hired her to take care of our 2 cats for a few days. When my husband got home, there was poop all up our stairs, by the front door, and down the hallway. He said it was an absolute mess and the whole house stunk. If the sitter was actually coming, there was no way she wouldn't have been able to see it. My cats never pooped outside of the litter box, so this was highly unusual. I didn't confront the person, I just paid her, figured it was a one-off, but I would never hire her again. And again, I was dealing with my daughter's medical condition in a hospital in a foreign country that English isn't their primary language. Along with me dealing with breast cancer for 15 months, the cats were fine and I had bigger fish to fry at that point. Fast forward to this past weekend. Someone posted on a community Facebook page about a pet sitter. Didn't name names, but had the exact same experience as me. So I DM'd the OP, asked her if it was so-and-so. She said that is exactly who it is and mentioned that quite a few others messaging her asking who it was, and then saying they had the same experience with her. On top of having poop in the house, the OP said this person did not show up on the cameras, so she confronted the pet sitter. The pet sitter denied it all, became defensive, started gaslighting the OP, and eventually blocked her on Facebook. On top of having poop in the house, the OP said this person did not show up on the cameras, so she confronted the pet sitter. The pet sitter denied it all, became defensive, started gaslighting the OP, and eventually blocked her on Facebook. This wasn't a one-off like I had initially thought, and felt this couldn't keep happening. This is neglectful, fraudulent, and abusive. So I commented on the post that if anyone wants to know who this sitter is, to DM, and I will let them know the name. One person in particular reached out to me. She hired this pet sitter to care for her elderly cat. The sitter was to give her cat 2 shots a day. Again, the sitter didn't show up on her cameras, but only for 2 out of 5 days. And then when they got home, the cat was sick. They had to rush it to the vet, and unfortunately, the cat had to be euthanized. Now, I'm even more mad. Not only because of that story, but I had probably 10 others come forward with similar stories as mine. On Monday, I decided to make a post on the community page naming names. And again, more people came forward. Some remained anonymous because fear of retaliation. I decided to post a review on her business Facebook page and encourage others to do so. And of course, by this point, word got around that I was exposing her. She posted on her page that she didn't even know me and only watched my dog once. So I posted receipts. She took them down. She messaged me privately saying that I'm ruining her good reputation and causing her to lose her business, and that I'm defaming her, bullying her, and that if I don't take my review down, she'll have no other choice but to call her lawyer. I told her this is my truth of what happened, and that if she can provide pictures of the pets for each and every time she was hired to watch them, that I would gladly remove my review, post a public apology, and even put a sign on my lawn advertising for her. All she has to do is post receipts. So far, that has not been done. In all of this, it has come to my attention that her longtime partner is in jail. So it's been a tough year, and I'm sure she is suffering from some mental health issues, which make me feel bad. So, am I the ass for exposing her so publicly? I mean, it kind of seems like, I get if you're having mental health issues, but also, don't let pets suffer for it. Alright, this second one's actually pretty funny. It's also from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for convincing my kids that I'm a real fairy? That's something I would do for sure. So I, 22, am a camp counselor for an aftercare extended camp. Runs until 6 p.m. for parents who can't pick up their kids when the camp ends at 3. So the camp itself is a combination of all the camps at my park district, so it's K through 8th. I dye my hair bright pink, and when it was freshly dyed, I ended up convincing a younger kid that I was born with pink hair. Dude, that's just lying. It was just a little bit that I do. So some kids believe me, some don't. Well, this kid believed me, and her mom even played into it when she came to pick her up. A few weeks later, the same girl asked why I was born with pink hair. I told her it's because I'm a flower fairy. Right away, her and the other kids at our table light up, so I play into it. They asked me if I'm going to turn anyone into frogs, so I assured them that I promised my boss not to use my powers at camp. I also made up the excuse that I can't show my wings because they're hidden under my shirt and I can't alter my uniform. I'm not making up some crazy lie, I'm just coming up with excuses to keep the magic. Honestly, I'm just doing what those birthday princesses do. Yeah, but you're a camp counselor. I mean, I get it, if they're little kids, make it magical for them. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a harmless lie. While the campers are having a blast thinking that their counselor is a fairy, my coworker seems a bit displeased. She said I shouldn't be lying to the kids and that I should stop. She's making it seem like I'm the asshole for making up some elaborate lie. She thinks the lying is wrong and that I shouldn't fill the kids' heads with lies like this. In her words, you're at camp, not Disney. I want to keep up the bit because the kids seem to really enjoy it. But if this is making me an asshole, I know I should stop. I don't think this is making you an asshole. I think it's a harmless lie, and the person who's offended by it is a Karen. Okay, this next one's a little bit insane. It's just one of those titles that caught my eye from r/confession. I deliberately inflict physical pain, and then in parentheses, only a little, on people who stand too close to the baggage carousel. As a frequent traveler, my biggest travel frustration is everybody crowding around the baggage carousel. I feel that. That's annoying. I could possibly understand it as selfish people doing selfish people things if there was any benefit to it, but I think the thing I hate the most is that it makes absolutely no sense. It does not even annoy me because of selfish reasons. Heck, sometimes I'll even take a seat somewhere and let my case ride around for a little while until everyone is gone. Still, standing a few meters back would allow everyone to see more of the carousel, and you could simply step forward to retrieve your luggage when you spot it. Unfortunately, this seems to be lost on most. I used to just quietly seethe, but recently I've decided to occasionally give a loud, "excuse me," and then push through forcefully to remove my bag. And then if the person still insists on standing as close as possible and refuses to make any space for me or others to remove our bags, I make sure to accidentally whack them with my suitcase as I remove it. It's gross and makes me a much worse person, but I am determined to civilize these travelers one baggage reclaim at a time. Listen, I get the excuse me, I want to get my bag type deal. Because there's no point in crowding a baggage carousel because, people are, if you don't see your bag's just not there yet. Like, they haven't removed it. If you don't see it, back up, let other people walk up and check for their bag. But the world is not actually this civilized, not even close. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. This person's just much more of a savage than I am. Okay, this next one's from r/stories. It seems pretty wholesome. I got a random wrong number text at 1 a.m. I answered. A year later, I was in their wedding. A little over a year ago, I got a text at 1:04 a.m. Is the green one better or the gold one? Please answer fast. No name, no context, just that I was half asleep, but something about it made me laugh. I replied, green. Always go with the green one. 2 minutes later, okay, thank you. I'm freaking out. I think I love him, and I don't know if this is a date. It's like a maybe date. I didn't have the heart to say wrong number, so I just said, then wear the green. Look good, feel better, and maybe date the hell out of it. She texted back, you're literally a stranger, but I love you. Thank you, with a green heart. And that was it, or so I thought, because a week later, she texted again. Green was the right call. It was a date. His name's Eli. He smelled like cedar and stress. And I, some random dude who never said she had the wrong number, texted back, and we just kept texting. Every few days, then every day, for months. She never asked who I was. I never told her. It became this anonymous thread of support. When things went well, she'd send me updates. Like, when things went badly, I'd hype her up like I was her invisible best friend in the walls. Eventually, she named me Text Goblin. Then, one night in November, she sent this. Okay, Goblin, I told him I love him, and he said it back. I'm so scared. I feel like my heart is too big and soft for this world. I texted something back dumb like, he's lucky to have you, and green was still the right choice. Then I didn't hear from her for 2 months. I thought it was all over until January. I found out who you are. I froze. You used your real Spotify once. That's how I found your playlist, then your profile. My heart dropped. I'm not mad. I actually have a question. Will you come to my wedding as my text goblin? And that's how I ended up flying to Arizona last month, standing in a room full of strangers, watching a woman I've never met walk down the aisle wearing a green ribbon in her hair. and winking at me from across the crowd. We hugged after. She whispered, "Thank you for picking green." And I said, "It was always green." I do totally apologize because I forgot her real name because I was so mesmerized by the chaotic possible chances in the world. Still saved in my phone as possibly chaos. Life is weird, but sometimes weird is kind. I think that's a real story. I mean, I don't know. I think that's nonfiction. That's a pretty good one. I like that. Here's another one from r/stories. It's called "I accidentally eavesdropped on a first date that felt like watching a dreamer trying to spark life into a brick wall." Let me know in the comments if you've been there before. That's a tough situation to be in. I was at a restaurant just outside Boston, mid-range, nothing fancy, but nice enough for a date. I was early, my friend running late. So I had about 20 minutes of solo time at my table. Next to me in the same booth, but technically a separate table, sat a young couple who looked to be in their mid-20s. They arrived a minute after I did. Across from me and to my left sat a man, heavy-set, pale, with a bright red beard and posture of someone either very tired or permanently unimpressed. Across from him, beside me, sat a young woman with expressive eyes, neat makeup, and a polite energy that I could feel even from my seat. It was clearly a first date. She smiled, he grunted. She talked, he sipped a whiskey cocktail. She ordered a wine, asked for it to come with her meal, but they brought it early. She laughed and thanked the server anyway. And then the conversation started. At first, it was small talk, the kind where one person tries to make it work and the other seems to be calculating how long is polite before leaving. I started jotting things down, not with judgment, but curiosity. I do this sometimes when alone in public, like sketching, but with words. A habit from long subway rides and solo lunches. She admitted this was her first app date. He said he'd been on a lot. Silence. She asked him if he wanted to know anything about her. He responded, "Sure." Like what? This dude is just hoping for free dinner. She tried again, asked about plumbing. He said he was a journeyman, but that there's no difference really. She tried to relate. "I went to school for 4 years for my job. I always admire people who just dove into work." He said he had a degree in communications. She blinked. "Oh, that's cool. Surprising, but cool." Silence. She confessed she gets nervous on dates and talks too much. Invited him to jump in. He told her, "You're fine." She asked if he'd always lived nearby. He said, "Whole life." She launched into a story she grew up on a houseboat. Her parents studied whales, like George on Seinfeld, but real. She smiled, looking for a connection. He asked if you can eat whales. She paused. No. She asked if he was okay, offered to reschedule if it wasn't a good night. He said, "You're fine." She laughed nervously, tried to bridge again. "I actually studied physics, minored in music so I wouldn't forget piano. Took a year just to play Never Look Back." He cut in, "What kind of money you make doing that?" She blinked. "Sorry?" He repeated the question, and she dodged politely. "It varies." He nodded. "That's what I figured." She asked about Netflix. He studied the menu. She asked if anything looked good. He said, "Not really. Might just ask for a regular burger." She apologized, said she should have checked if he liked seafood. He said, "I do. It's just overpriced." She replied, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you to pay." He grinned. "So you're paying? Cool. Maybe I'll get something else." She laughed, waiting for him to laugh back, but he didn't. I knew it. This dude's in it for free dinner. I knew it. I called it. "Oh, you were joking, right?" He stared. "What joke?" She quietly decided to stick with the wine. He blamed the slow service. She asked about interest. He said, "Sports." She lit up. "Oh, what do you play?" He said he used to play in high school. Could have gone pro if I wanted. She asked, "What else?" She offered a fun one. "Desert island book choice?" He frowned. "Never been to the desert. I don't really travel." She paused, then said, "I'm actually feeling off. I think I might have to call it a night." He shrugged. "Okay." She stood. "I'll go settle this at the bar." He nodded. "Okay." She looked down, hesitant, then said, "Well, have a good night." He waved her off. "Yeah, you too. This was chill. I'll text you." She walked out. He stayed, ordered his burger, ate the whole thing. I watched this quiet unraveling of a one-sided effort, a hopeful human trying to connect with a brick wall of indifference, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Not because it was tragic or explosive, but because of how common it felt. It's like people aren't just bad at dating these days, they're bad at showing up. Like someone handed them a life and they're just dragging it around, not even curious about the person across the table. Of course, not everyone is like this, but I'm seeing it more especially among young men. They seem so unbothered, unmotivated, and disinterested in the people they're with. Like they're just fulfilling a social quota. Maybe it's burnout, maybe it's loneliness, or maybe some people are just not meant to date. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. I just needed to get this one out of my head. That's hilarious. Can you eat whales? Is crazy. Crazy work. Like that was a genuine question. Alright, next one is also from r/stories because they're just serving up bangers today. Ever had an encounter with a celebrity where you made it awkward and cringeworthy? When my daughter was younger, she got into acting. At 10 years old, she had raw talent compared to the innocence of youth. A lot of her strength came from fearlessness and couldn't be embarrassed. I believe that's how she landed a few acting jobs. Not being shy at that age made her stand out. One time, my daughter landed a small part, her first, on a TV show that had been on for a couple of seasons which featured some notable actors, namely Seth Rogen. I accompanied her all the way to production-related appointments including costume fittings and being fitted for a prosthetic. I also accompanied her to the sets during production. As I understood it, my role as the parent of a minor was to make sure she was being well taken care of. I made sure to keep an eye on her at all times while staying out of the way of the production people. I didn't want to be the annoying parent and the reason a lot of productions would prefer not to use kids on set. No complaints about the whole experience. They treated her like gold, and myself as well. On the first day of shooting, we went to hair and makeup, then waited for her to be called on set. When I say this kid had no fear, when called, she walked onto the set with some notable actors, Seth Rogen included, and about 50 production crew and extras. She was the focus of the scene, and she pulled it off beautifully, listened to direction, and applied it. I was blown away with how professional she was on that set, considering she was 10 years old and it was her first time. It would be hard to find a moment where I've been more proud. The next day at the shoot, we showed up again to the hair and makeup trailer. Shortly after we got there, Seth Rogen pops in to get done up for the scenes. He's really friendly, greets everyone. He introduced himself and shook my daughter's hand. Then he turned to me. I shook his hand and said, "I guess I've been replaced as her father." Ouch. I had meant that to be clever. I definitely felt it was cringeworthy. Seth did a little of his distinct laugh and we all moved on. I'm thinking of that moment many years later. The whole production was a great experience for my daughter. She has since quit acting to focus on school, but I know those are memories she will cherish, and as will I, since it was an amazing time together. If anyone was wondering, Seth Rogen is a hard-working professional. He flew in to film his scenes over a week in between other projects. He produced and acted in the project. My impression of him is nothing but a positive role model for my daughter in the entertainment industry. He's probably human like the rest of us with quirks and flaws. Thankfully, I'm sure Seth Rogen has easily forgotten about our interaction. Okay, next story is from r/coworker stories. My coworker stole my promotion using the presentation I helped them build. This makes me sad every time I think about it. I work in marketing at a mid-sized company. I've been gunning for a senior strategist role for over a year. My manager told me I was on track. All I needed was one strong campaign pitch to seal the deal. Enter Marissa. We got hired around the same time, but we were in different departments until recently. She transferred over to marketing a few months back, and honestly, I liked her. Friendly, funny, always asked me to lunch. We even joked that if either of us got promoted first, the other one would ride the coattails. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago. My boss announces a surprise pitch competition for the open strategist role. 3 of us competing. I'm nervous, but I've been prepping for this. Marissa, though, looks panicked. So she comes to me after hours, says she doesn't understand the brief, feels lost, might tank her shot. I help her, a lot, like I literally walked her through the deck structure, gave her stats to back up her angle, even helped her rehearse once. The day comes. Marissa goes first, and my stomach drops because she presents my exact framework. Like, same structure, same insights, even the damn joke I'd written into my slides for my closer. It's like watching myself in a Black Mirror episode. My turn comes, and I try to pivot, tweak things to not look like a copycat, but it's too late. I look like I recycled her pitch. She gets the promotion. I confronted her privately. She said, "You didn't have it copyrighted, did you?" and walked off. I reported it to my manager, but there's no proof. Everything was informal, no emails, no shared files, just 2 coworkers talking. Now she's literally sitting in the office that was supposed to be mine, and the worst part, she still smiles at me like nothing happened. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree kind of with the first comment here. Seems like you shouldn't have helped her in something you were competing with her on. I mean, also, I feel like she didn't have to completely copy her pitch. Like, she was trying to be helpful, and then, you know, she took big advantage of that. In my opinion, karma's gonna come back to get her. Like, she's gonna lose her job over something stupid, and then maybe this girl will end up getting the job. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you liked, drop a sub and like. If not, go watch a Baby Jamie video. Peace.